and in an event within 72 hours. And we emphasize, and in any event within 72 hours. You find a similar provision in the 1970 Constitution, Section 15. You find a similar provision, but the words in any event within 72 hours, within 5 days is not prescribed in that Constitution. So it is left open. And Section 37 also says when a person alleges that any of the provisions of the fundamental human rights is being or is likely to be violated in relation to him, should apply to the High Court for redress. And of course, what you will come to see is that government itself says that, well, we recognize that Mr. Sabally's fundamental rights will be infringed. It's likely to be infringed by us. So we are coming to you for some kind of order that would justify the continued detention of Mr. Sabally against the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privy to some documents filed by the state, ex parte, to deprive a person of his fundamental rights. Now, whenever any individual is to be deprived of his fundamental right, he has a right to be heard. He must be heard. It cannot be made ex parte. But what has happened is that they come under some, what they call some practice directives. And that practice directive does not allow for the deprivation of a person of his rights. Allows one to make applications for matters to be heard during the vacation. By the ex parte motion, the state makes spurious allegations against Mr. Sabally that when addressed some TikTokers, he did say, we'll take the government. Mr. Sabally never said so. What Mr. Sabally said is that, Mbe banko talale. And Mbe banko talale, every politician says that, Mbe banko talale. And he said, even Hanijani local government elections. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to play for you what, at least for the benefit of the Mandinka speakers and others, you know, sorry, I'm not very good at these gadgets, you know. Now, I'd like you to listen what Kadi Drame said.
Oh, your mics are not picking.
Oh, I don't know how do I do it. Anyway, we will. Mr. Sabally said, "Mbe banko lockdown lale," which in essence means that we are locking the country so that Adama Barrow will find it uncomfortable to go in any part of this country. Don't we hear people say this is a no-go area for these political parties? Don't we hear that? Absolutely. So if we say that, if Sabally says that Mbe banko lockdown lale, What is wrong with that? Is that tantamount to taking over a government? It might be in preparation of taking over a government, because it is said that local government election of Membina, we must make sure that we go on aggressive recruitment of voters, so that the next local government election, he mentioned the mayors and the chairman, mentioned Danjo, so that they will succeed. But, gentlemen of the press and Gambians, this is a scheme, it's a ploy that had been contrived several months ago. You will recall in their NPP forum that we must silence Momodou Sabally, we must silence Ibrahim Adiba, and a third person, that they must be silenced, so that they can go ahead with their politics. That evil scheme that they contrived is what has now been hatched. And unfortunately, the judiciary has been used in this unholy act. I want to say that the judge who did this is not an ignorant person. Nekkul ne jooy bi dafa ñàkk xam-xam, xam na ko, xam na lu moo def, xam na luwaa bi, waaye dafa def ne maa tey naa la tëj until the 5th of January. Doo ci mun dara, you big mouth, di nga tëj sa gémmiñ bi. That is all. And he is doing so to satisfy Adama Barrow and his cohorts. We've seen the TRRC report, how it castigated the judiciary, when the judiciary was used by the regime to suppress Gambians. We are now seeing again the judiciary being used by the Barrow administration to suppress a political opponent. We have seen in the TRRC report how the security forces were used to really trample on political opponents. We are seeing again being repeated again. Now one asks yourself, what was the never again mantra? What is it for? Why was the need to really have conducted this, this investigation by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, if the very government that commissioned such an investigation can now turn around and doing exactly what the former regime was doing? We do not have any hope for this country. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to assure all of you that, in fact, what is happening is just an abuse of the judicial process. What is happening is that the judiciary, the police are conniving with Adama Barrow, because they know that local government elections are coming, they are losing ground, so this is a way to intimidate people. We will never be intimidated. We will never be intimidated. We'll make sure that the councils that we have, we retain them, and also make sure that the councils that we are aspiring to gain, you do not reach them. We will, and that way, we'll definitely take the country, and we are prepared to take the country. If you mean taking the country, meaning taking the government, well, that is your interpretation. When somebody says, "Nga banko nga lockdown," a banko lockdown, does that mean we're taking the government? But I'll give you the affidavits of somebody who calls himself Lamin Cham. I don't know what type of person he is. He swears to a false affidavit, because Mr. Sabally never used the word government. He said banko. How many times have people heard, Lawyer Darboe, I'm singing, hey, Lawyer Darboe bankota? Why have they thought that is treason? They are pretending to be what I'm not. Why have they not said that is treason? But because Mr. Sabally is a thorn in their flesh, because Mr. Sabally doesn't mince words, he says exactly as it is. That is why they think that this is a way to silence him. And to silence him, they have to call in aid the judiciary to help them in this heinous, in this shameful act, because they know that they cannot. In fact, in their affidavit, they said that because we cannot keep him for more than 72 hours, therefore lock him for us. That any sensible judge who is not doing martyr will say, no, this is what the Constitution says. We are not going to partner with you In fact, what we expect is that if you want to do this, we expect Mr. Sabally to come under Section 37 of the Constitution so that I can order for his release. But I will not perpetuate his detention, because that will be me, a judge, asking you to infringe the Constitution. It's shameful. It's really shameful. And our country have not bargained for this. These are not the lessons we learned from the TRRC. The lessons we have learned from the TRRC is that we should be measured. We should be protective of the laws of this country. We should be protective of the individual, of the citizens of this country, unless they commit an offense. If you suspect somebody has committed an offense, and then you go to court, without any charge, you go to court and say detain him, and the court readily grants that. Really, I am ashamed that our judiciary is starting to behave as, or some of the judges in our judiciary, starting to behave the way they were behaving in Yahya Jammeh's time. It's not a good omen. Now, if I feel that Mr. Wali has committed sedition and I don't want to make my investigation, what do I do? I go to court and say, please detain him further because I want to do my investigations. Depriving of his personal liberty. That is the trend they want to set in this country, and it is a trend that we cannot accept, and we must not accept. Gambians must know that Solo Sanden died to make sure that in this country, tyranny does not rear its head. Gambians went to the polls on the 1st of December to elect Adama Barrow in order to bring an end to dictatorship in this country. But alas, I think Mr. Barrow is right. The dictator is ourselves. We are the dictators. The dictator is us. And Barrow's gradual ascendancy to dictatorship is being aided by the police, is being aided by the judiciary. And this is something that we cannot accept, and we must not accept. I call on the Human Rights Commission of the Gambia to join with United Democratic Party to bring an end to this horrible state of affairs. I appeal to all NGOs that are concerned with human rights activities to team up with us, because this is not in Sabally. This is against our fundamental laws of the country. And Sabally just happen to be, the person in the center field. It could have been any of us. So I appeal to all to join us, that the decadence into which it has gradually sliding into is abated. Otherwise, this country will be sorry for itself. See, I think Mr. Tal has stated in his opening remark that this is a season of peace. Absolutely. It's a season of peace. Christ came to redeem humanity from disaster. And there cannot be a greater disaster than denying people of their fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution. In this season, one should behave in ways that promote peace. One should make statements in ways that promote peace. But I want to conclude to say that the greatest threat to peace and stability is injustice. That is the greatest threat. Where you have injustice, it always provides a recipe for instability. And this country of ours, where we have said in our national anthem, let justice guide our actions, it must be so. This just cannot be incantations in our national anthem. We must also live by it, abide by it, practice it. In that way, we are sure that we are building a just society, a society that will be free from violence. When you push me to the wall, I would have no recourse other than to push back. And that is not good. I have said it over and over, that the peace and stability of the country is the responsibility of every one of us. Everyone, every Gambian, and every person resident in the Gambia has a responsibility to ensure that the stability of this country is maintained. But there is the greater responsibility is on government. If you start misusing your powers, if you start misusing your laws to suppress people, their fundamental freedoms, to perpetuate injustice, to carry injustice to people, if they cannot find justice in the courts, where you should go for justice, if they cannot find justice there, I'm sure it's going to lead to something, and nobody wants that for this country. So, President Barrow, Inspector General of Police, Mr. Sanya, and all your security forces, please, let us conduct the affairs of this nation in a way that will promote peace. Let us promote and act in ways that will certainly ensure that this country is stable. This is what we all want. We do not want any Gambian to leave this country to go as refugees anywhere. We are receiving refugees. We don't want to be refugees in any country, and we shouldn't do anything that will make any of us refugees in any country. Gentlemen of the press, this is what I have to tell you, that is an absolute infringement, an absolute violation of Mr. Sabally's rights. The only thing is that they have contrived long ago that we must silence him. We must silence Ibrahim Adiba. You remember when Ibrahim Adiba was taken away? On spurious allegations of insulting the president. For saying that that is true. If I say that is absolutely true. That is not insulting anybody. But those people who do not know, they don't understand Mandinka language. They went to say that is an insult to the president. The president was not insulted. It's just a statement of fact. A statement of fact. Because if Ibrahim Adiba says, Mobama for Ousainou Darboe, that is true. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. What let me say this in Mandinka because you are reporting, so you will not. Those who cannot read, do not understand English, will not be able to understand what we are saying. I like press molo, journalist solo, nga kontam banke, ko spokesperson ya fo nyame, nga le bismillah janto, judi bila manja biroto janto, na nyem press conference ona. Adon dalilo me ya nanga kiro ki janto, wala Mr. Sabally la ko wala. Be nga lon ka foko, fenkelung amira aram salung arabalung talannan wato wala law ya muta en fan tanga tun office wala to abe salola jeto data la ko dan kay mbatu jeto bare ya muta iko ya muta munela ani tiktokers no le sita e diamute ay mune fada ko moko no ako nyim banko mbar lockdown la le wala nyim banko mba soron la le basora jumal Abraham Baro so that ate bono la janto ay tabase ka nata ta jeto ba mo le tala temel ba wurela nata ta fuladu am la bunya me so la ta so jeto nim president mo so to la banko ka fo banko nyima busi la ba Mr. Sabally ole fo ko banko nyim ba soron na le adu fem mandi ka kan moy salon ka ko banko soron ni man sakunda taw manka kilinte kaw kambe banko sorona noni mo kunta da ku benta so wala nyata kale be Mr. Sabally mutala bar même fam ya ko dimina wara ako jakalo wara wala mo ifali aje ko nyinde 72 hours nimman ta samba no la court wodo ngata kiti bunto ala nyanto ngavo kiti bunga ya ala nyanto tinya ni mo la nyanto tinya ni banko ka ike bor mi do la kata court kita kiti bunga to under section 37 of the constitution ya fo ko mansa fele wala kar fele abe nyanto nya bat nya kan bari tere ngna e kafo police wala ko al kar la nyanto tinya je ma hana fako arabu alena ba ni monde kata public holiday Tuesday man ke public holiday bari ma fako alna fo hani bela ma nyanto tinale dalila kante fanyum kuma kuntan doron wo mumiral ku balati gambian ko li aliaje al sistam sanyi nako mansa kunda be menke kan wolomu abe jikole tamani ka ba dole londi kan ka ko si boy no mo kan ne doron ye muta de ta ko ya fo ko ko dukara soronye ya fo ko de luatinya adi jojo me nyinge nya manka ka fa maluwa londe ay luwa londe ana manka ka fa filita da man fili akola ko ntele yake adiata ntele modo kuno la je wala ntele nga ke adiata ntele amanka la lonta ya bare be nga jele TRRC la report nga menji jeto courthouse judiciary jojo ya jame yusnyame ngela condemnation jela mamira nyin judiciary sina som wala judiciary me yalo ka foko abe pare ka la head me yalo ka foko ebe arrangement ke ka pour kaje yama cases nyol doli se prosecute no janyame kadu ko tinyarol melkata ya jamere jamano ko wo judiciary killings na som ko kete tay keke jorangti ka mo la nyanto ka busila dalila kante way ko ni momoy luatinya wallahi inyantale tay la luanya tilida adu mo mafako Mr. Sabally manyana prosecute la natra kafako ay luatinya mo fo bari ko ibe menke ka wala ni luamanta be ngajele DRC men for security forces nyala kuoto yeke jorangti nyame nyim banko kan to gambe dir ke halaki kad femman tambi nyinna yemota yasindula kilinto nimme laftaje la il faut mo ko sontale yaaje ala bonda la dimbal ko atala badil jala femman tambi mo halako la tambi ka tambi wala police olu e ko be yaaji ko be adama barole fasala fania kam police olu e ko adama baro kadu mo Sabally men fana ka ko ni local government election men binalate be constitution bele tala wala mo men ba fala ko alanga tanga carte ni alanga tanga nyinka wala ba fala ko be masakunda boy la lemba sembola ban ni me ya haklo soto al balo na ka ko mu manka to nyati mu meke ban ni mu ko la men tafawnu e ko ko Momodou Sabally Ibrahima Diba ani modol nyata men e ko beden la nyim banko kan MC Cham e ko beden la nyim banko kan ngajala ya Ibrahima Diba ku kuntang me yalla ko ya mutanu ya samba ko Ibrahima Diba fa ko arba baro ba mo fu mo ba ni gambe ko wa mun nandir la nyako adama baro ba adama baro le ba fu Ousainou Darboe Ousainou saf ka intenden on nako Ousainou Darboe ba fu tuta mo ko tem bade wata yo mari nende para mo ani ka ko fo dum adama baro le ba fu tuta mo tiba aliado kukutan ka yasa Sabally menfo me yaron ka be audio to man ka kam wala be ya moy ako banko ni ba lockdown la le banko ni of course ba lockdown la fo mo bu ka moy ka ko oh this is a no go area for opposition, this is a no go area for NPP fo bu ka ko fo man ka lockdown le tibam fo man ka lockdown le tibam bari police olu ibe use kam anam aji la ko le wayndi sa ko bakat lo ya lo ay luwa karani ayala baake dole nyanta nyinkela ya ko ho no amalonde bari te luwa lo e fa yamen kala fi David Fangto ko ngalo ne ko nim ko menyum fa mbed luwani be luwati nyala le sa en court house du kare ma koy no luwani ngati nya bara sikeda la kanka kadu there is nothing constitutional may a court empower kavoko mola nyanto e nyanta kafla mansa kunda mala court nya nyinde ni e mari charge offense la ye not court e apply ta for bail court ko integrant la bail yes go understand wo ngo understand kavoko wo sembo bela le yo yake bila lilo men kama fa sahata fa man sa muku ko tenede baro sadra kavoko sembo ba ni assemble ta jojo nyin. She has no authority on the constitution. Bafala, in fact, George is not pay. Nimmeye Amina Sahola, Kito Do, Karang, Fenke Juf. There's some, I mean, Juf Canton, yeah? Wala judgment. Nimmeye Karang. Balo na Kavkonya, Kilo Menke, Tilimbalia Lomo. Ka loi to sembetala. Kafa yoko practice direction, whatever constitution overrule. Mfukama kafa ko the law, National Assembly legislation, nani law mantanyola, uluani wa kaburukale. For KMC ni Attorney General, for loi, National Assembly loi men fenke. For Supreme Court kafka wa luani in constitution na manyota, so ye buruka. So practice direction, any joy relying on practice direction, because you deprive people of their fundamental rights. You have not, I don't think you are doing it out of ignorance. You are just doing it because you have been dictated to do so. Because you want to really provide comfort for Adama Barrow. You want to really provide comfort for NPP and his cohort. That is why this judge behaved this way. Not that she doesn't know the law. She just says, ma tay, na ko def. Lima don was mambokay moy, li fi njata bi tay lu ko waral, moy affaire Momodou Sabally, lolo ko waral. Gis nañ ne alarba la ko police yi téye bu njëkk wax dañ ko ne rek ñëwal ñu waxtaan pour moo naka di jàpp moo tax pour julli tisbaar ñu ne ko dañ la arrest ñu yóbbu ko lan lañ ko arresté ñu ne dafa wax ne dañoo jël réew mi te naka la ñoo jëlee réew mi wax na ko tiktokasi mu ne na ngeen génn ngeen dem ut carte da ngeen génn ngeen dem uti ñu ñoo bokk ci UDP ndax UDP mun a delloo office Fodé Danjo Rohey Malick Lowe Talib waaye nit yi liggéey bu rafet ñi liñ def mu ne looloo tax maa leen di sant pour na ngeen génn mu ne nañ lockdown réew mi te lockdown réew mi mooy ne dinañ téye fu nekk ci réew mi boo xam ne Adama Barrow du fa mun a dem su fa demee gàcce rek la faa jël xanaa duñ dee dëgg fii ñu wax ne ci jamono jooju ne foo ñuy seen no go era of opposition duñ dee dëgg ñuy wax ne Badbu is no go area for this and that loolu nag fi dee dëgg so lockdown mooy the whole country will be a no go area for Adama Barrow except the State House lu moo def State House su génnee dem Mankamankounda sax dafa jëlee gàcce that is what loolu la Momodou Sabally di wax ne waaye li soosee dee wax ne ku siyaatiiti ñoolu ñi nga xam ne dañoo jël mbir def ko proportion out of proportion for their own selfish interest ñu lifi ne lii coup d'état la ci coup d'état bi la bokk waaye ngeen xam ne yéen a gën a xam ne lii amul benn du coup d'état kenn du wax ne damay def coup d'état ba pare ngay wax ne nañ leen toppal loi kuy def loolu waaye lii nag liñ planoon la bu yàgg ñoom NPP seen forum yi fiisil la waaye li ma ci gën a lifin mooy suñu loi bu mag bi constitution bi cër bi mu jox nit mooy ne su fekkee am na képp am na nit benn government or any other person bugga sa cër boobu bugga koo jël amee da nga yaakaar ne daf ko bugga jël mbaate mu ngee def ay jël ne mu ngi koo jël da nga war a dem ci court waa court bi ne na ko stop sa cër bi nga am nga exercise ko waaye ngay dem ci court di ko wax ne diw de lii mooy cëram lii la ko luwaa jox waaye dama bugga nga aaye ko man ko soog a dégga nga dem court ne diw sangam lii droit bi lii la ko jox waaye dama bugga yow court bi nga aaye ko mu ngi soog a am Gambia fii te luwaa jooj bi ko def nekkul ne dafa ñàkk xam-xam de am na xam-xam parce que kuy joytu ne suma cër dañ ko bugg a jël ci ñooñ la dee daw high court pour mu gis ne aar na ko pour mu gis ne loi dox na according to the constitution waaye dafa def yëfi maa tey maa am doole bi ñëw nañ dama koo def ci holiday time la kenn du ci mun dara court baa ngi tëj soo maa tey naa ko def waaye nag tur bi yàqu bi nag dégga du naka police de ku police la ñoo yàq seen tur in fact du even nekk Adama xëy na dinañ ne Adama Barrow ak police ñoom ñoo doon lifi seen loxoom ci suuf waaye moom George bi na dem down in the history of this country ne moom moo def lii wax nguur ne kii de dégga lii la cëram waaye nag jox naa la doole nga yaxat cër boobu loolu na dem down in the history te goma ne loolu baax na ci moom internationally ak in the eyes of human rights defenders and human rights advocates maa ngi appeal nag to the National Human Rights Commission maa ngi appeal to NGOs yi nga xam ne seen jéego mooy seen taxawaay mooy ne protect rights of the people képp koo xam ne yow bugga nga ne loi nekk ci réew mi nit yi seen cër seen rights ñu protect ko ma ngi leen di wax ñëpp ñu bokk ak UDP yëf yu ñaaw bi nga xam ne moo door nii ñu génnee ko parce que doo def maatee rek jël nit taaj ko benn place ne yow yaa am doole pour def loolu in the first place amul benn doole benn luwaa joxut ko challenge naa ko ba challenge na any judge moo wax ne dama wax ne luwaa bi moo ko jox lii soo ne practice direction loolu def di loi George Chief Justice toog rek defin National Assembly pass fa ay loi Supreme Court ne loi yooyu méngut ak suñu constitution bi so fundamental human rights boo xam ne is entrenched is guaranteed so a flimsy practice direction moom moo war a overrule loolu léegi gàcce la pour Gambia waaye nag yaakaar naa ne dinañ doon jàng ci TRRC li wax ci judiciary bi ci jamono Yahya Jammeh li wax ci security force ci jamono Yahya Jammeh yaakaaroon naa ne képp koo xam ne yaa ngi ci security forces yi képp koo xam ne yaa ngi ci néegi attekaay bi di nga bàyyi sa xel ci loolu ne gis nañ ne dañ leen use on pour nit di deprive leen of their freedoms ñi nga xam ne ñoo def lii su fekkee woon ne seen mbokk leen téye woon ñoom ñoo fee nekk di yuuxu di wax ne lii àndut ak yoon waaye nag Mr. Tall wax naa ne fii jamono bii nekk ni Christmas jamono jàmm la Jesus Christ dafa ñëw according to Christian doctrine dafa ñëw pour doomi Adama pour saxal jàmm ci àddina pour gis ne doomi Adama cëram li ko yàlla jox loolu mu exercise ko te bokk na ci freedom ba nga njoori sa bopp bokk na ci nga diine bi nga bokk nga bokk ci bokk na ci bokk na ci ne duñ la lifin mukk duñ la atteel lépp mukk te dégluñu la looloo tax even bana George Club even Milton ci Paradise Lost ñu ngee lifin ñu ne Adama Yàlla ne du ko punish fa mu wax ko ne lu tax nga def lii waaye yow nga jos jël nit punish ko déglu loo ko ba pare nga def ci sa kayit bii ne absent mel na ne danga ko joxoon danga ko saafoon te saafuñ ko wax ne absent loolu ku read li fi dangaa fa ne oh Mr. Sabally nag xama lu ne lu tax demut waaye saafuñ ko ñu def ko rek ci gannaawam an ma ko waxee di ci jamono bi jamono jàmm la jàmm nag léegi ñun ñëpp suñu rogal la suñu responsabilité la pour def loo xam ne dafa saxal jàmm ci réew mi waaye nag nit nag boo ko def injustice nag mooy nooni jàmm injustice nooni jàmm la te li mu bëgg ci réew mi mooy let justice guide our actions towards the common good loolu lañ bëgg maa ngi leen di gërëm yéen pressmen yi di leen sant wa salaam sorry Mr. Tall waxoon na ne naa leen jox statement but def ma benn written statement I'll just be in this on top of my head waaye nag seen affidavit bi ak li ci transcribe naa leen ko jox xam naa ne ñu nekk ci audio yi every media house am naa ko I'm sure of that tiktokers every media house am nañ ko so ñoom liñ transcribe ngeen seet loolu ngeen déglu li ngeen déglu Momodou Sabally li mu wax li ngeen gis even transcription bi was false it's not correct ñu jël ci benn lifin rek you know you see the whole all these three pages benn sentence rek lañ ci dem we are going to do massive aggressive campaign we are going to retrieve government from Adama Barrow. That is a lie. He said we are going to retrieve country the Bankole Tada. He never said we are going to retrieve government. It's a lie. Why benn sentence Bob jail from all these three pages. So when I give it to you, as also as saying phony affidavit be. Gentlemen of you, I thank you very much. It's in Jedai.
Thank you very much, Secretary General and the party leader. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the party leader has an additional engagement, so we can only take very few questions. But before that, let me recognize the presence of the Deputy Secretary General, party leader, who has joined the press. So kindly come up and recognize the presence of the members of the National Assembly.
No, it's not that. More than one copy. It's more than one copy. It's more than one copy. I've got one copy.
Please indicate your name and the media house you represent.
Sorry.
The question is, the arrest came a few hours before, after the announcement of attempted coup, when the TikTokers visited Mr. Sabally, I think last week, well before this. Are there any connections?
Well, there's absolutely no connections. That is the flimsy excuse that the government is employing to detain him. Look, if I want to talk about overthrowing the government, I don't do it in the public, talk with the people in that way. It will be done in complete secret. If I'm plotting for overthrow of a government, and Mr. Sabally is intelligent enough, if he's into overthrowing, it will not, those are not the people that he will talk to on those type of issues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And also, Mungena like in any of our languages, Mandinka Wolof or English.
My name is Nandiyao from the West Coast Radio. My question is, do you understand that the even though he was charged by the police.
Thank you. That is what is central in this press briefing. In the first place, depriving a person of his constitutional right, ex parte, I've never heard of it. You ought to have jurisdiction conferred on you by the Constitution or other law. And in fact, if any law confers jurisdiction of a court to deprive a person of his liberty who has not been charged for an offense, that law would be inconsistent with the Constitution. And I think also it's an abuse of the process by the Attorney General to have filed an ex parte motion. If they were sure of what they were doing, they should have filed a summons on notice. And again, I fault the judge. When the fundamental rights of an individual is an issue, and it comes to before you ex parte, the right thing for her to do was to order that, no, I will not hear this application ex parte, serve the other party. That is what is in keeping with practice. That is what is in keeping with the thinking of people who are protective of the fundamental rights of citizens of this country. But if you do not care about the fundamental rights and liberties of any of the citizens of this country, you will go on, file an ex parte motion, and then give it to whatever judge, and then for the judge to endorse your violation, your continued violation of the Constitution. It's as simple as that. There's nothing that can cure an illegality. It is illegal. So there's nothing that can cure that illegality. Because from the word go, it was wrong. So it is not this judicial gymnastics that will really give validity to Mr. Sabally's continued detention. Because whatever you do, whatever practice direction you rely on is inconsistent with the Constitution. So I think this letter, but I think I want to leave those issues for Mr. Fati to deal with. But I have no doubt in my mind that is an abuse of the judicial process. And you all know, the Attorney General knows what an abuse of judicial process is, to irritate a person, to do things to the annoyance of a person. And this the
you have made peace, a swift peace in attacking judges in his capacity. And also I've seen young boys around. What does this tell in the next month for the party?
So I don't understand the question really. About the young boys.
I mean the young boys behind you there.
What would they?
What would that be to tell us if there will be any move, extra move, by the party?
Well, say whether I have attacked any judge.
No, I mean, many times you condemn people not to criticize judges. Why now you shift to do that?
Yeah. When judges make mistakes, they are human beings. When they make mistakes, yes, I cannot condone anyone criticizing them. But when a judge deliberately abdicates his responsibility, his or her responsibility, in protecting one's individual rights, we have a right to say so, and we'll say so. Because this is a political issue, and we believe that politicians are using the judge, so we'll also deal with it politically. That is what we are doing. As I say, I have enormous respect for all the judges of this country. But that doesn't mean that when a judge behaves in this way, I should keep quiet about it. When judges do things that is that I feel they are wrong, but it has been done properly, in a legitimate way, of course I cannot complain about that. the presence of these young men here just shows that the young leadership of the United Democratic Party, because they are youth league. They are youth league of the United Democratic Party. It just shows that the youth leadership of this country are really prepared and they are ready to take their responsibility in the party. That is what it tells.
Thank you so much. My name is Momodou. So, you said this is a scheme employed by President Barrow to silence Sabally and other members of the party. Well, the general reaction is that Barrow is testing the depth of water.
Yes?
He's testing the depth of water. He's clambering down on the sand from the political parties. And most people say the opposition is taking things for granted. They are underestimating Barrow. So are you going to stop at issuing press statement and press conferences? So what next action are you going to take to ensure that somebody doesn't spend or be at the conference on the 5th of January? Or are you going to go to the streets like you did for summer Sunday, or are you going to stop at this press conference and press statements?
Well, compare it with the Solo Sanden issue. Before we went out on Solo Sanden case, there was an executive committee meeting, and the executive sanctioned it. So this one also, we'll see what we'll do. But I will not say that this is what we are going to do without the sanction of the executive. So I think that's it. Well, if Barrow is testing the depth of the seas, well, I have said that, look, injustice is a recipe for instability. And I do not think any one of us, including President Barrow, would want to do anything that will really destabilize this country. Time has gone past when you trample on the liberties of individuals, and then you go, and then it's just as if nothing has happened. That era has gone, and it will never come back. So, if President Barrow is testing the depth of the seas, then I think he should really rethink that it cannot happen, and it will not happen. I'm not suggesting anything, but look, you fear a place where you have never been. The Mandingos, you say Wanato. If you've been to Wanato, you don't fear what is in the Wanato. Yeah? I mean, you see, Mr. Sabally is uncomfortable where he is. When Mr. Sabally has experienced detention, I mean, in some years ago. So for him, it's nothing new. It's just that we outside, we are worried. But I know, because I've met him, we've spoken. He's not worried. And he's not worried because he has not committed any offense. That is why he's not worried. All this is a nuisance, but again, I want to say that all of us should together work to ensure that peace prevails in this country. And that will happen if we pay heed to this stanza in our national anthem. Let justice guide our actions towards the common good. Let us do that.
Someone has a follow-up question.
Second question is, you express your despair in the IDP that you are disappointed in him as a lawyer and so on. But we have seen in numerous occasions when people make certain pronunciations they have been arrested for question. What message do you have from the Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force in regards to issues like this?
Well, I don't know whether it's a message I want to give him or a reminder. Last week, he was on the State of Affairs, 2TV. He gave a very impressive interview. And one of the things he said, which endeared the police to me, is that there is a human rights unit established within the Gambia Police Force to ensure that people's fundamental rights and liberties are not in any way violated. You cannot have such a unit within your institution and then turn around and promote the violation and infringement of the fundamental rights of another citizen. So maybe that statement he made on TV maybe was just a public relations stunt. And I don't think Mr. Sanyang should really be engaging in public relations stunts. I think it should be meaningful that that unit to have any value which is answerable to him directly. That is what he says. The unit is answerable to him directly. That he should ensure that the fundamental rights of Gambian citizens are respected at all times. That is the message I want to send to him.
Any other question? Jumale lafta njinin karo kela in Wolof in Mandinka. It doesn't look like it. Again, thank you very much for your prompt attendance and for your very diligent questions. We have been asking for fundamental law reforms for the last 5 years or so as a political party. And I think it would be clear, like party leader has said, that Jamaji Amchireu Mipi, Nanyani Ala Muyo, Yubanesi Wero Akajala, Gambian Zip, Kenyan State, she is the government in the the last item on the agenda is the affidavit that is supporting this illegal detention. I'm pleased to share it
with the exhibits. With the exhibits. That is transcription.
Oh.
You know, definitely.
It's 2 copies. There's one for the transcription and
there's one transcription and
That's the transcription.
Yeah. Let me arrange them. Let me arrange them. Let me just arrange.
We have five copies each. Yes. So we have one. Okay, one.
The lady who asked the question will have one.
There's one of each. One of each.
Can you put them together properly? Huh?
So lady who asked the question, here is a Christmas gift for you so that your story would be fully complete. Mr. Marwali, you also deserve one. You asked 2 questions. Mr. Darboe has decided not to open the prison for you. Young man. Again, thank you very much. This press briefing has come to an end. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Deputy Party Leader, National President, honorable members of the National Assembly, thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you very much.
Ready.